husband was just accused of molesting a girl in the elevator. There's only one problem. He hasn't had hands for 5 years. The day I moved into Riverfront Residences, I became public enemy #1 in the entire community. It all started with my neighbor, the influencer Sexy Innocent Yvonne, who had over 1 million followers on TokTik. Right now, she was holding a phone stand right outside my door, crying her eyes out, making people sympathize with her. Chat, I can't take it anymore. I thought there were only good people in this community, but it turns out there's a right animal living here. Yvonne tugged at her collar, which was already as low as it could go, showing off loads of skin and some pretty shocking red marks on her neck. She pointed at my tightly shut door, yelling, "The man who lives in this apartment looks like a nice guy, but half an hour ago he molested me in the elevator. He knew there was no signal in the elevator, so he not only verbally harassed me, he also pinned me to the wall. He used his hand to clamp my mouth shut, and with the other hand he tried to rip my dress. If the elevator door hadn't opened just in time, I would've." At this point, she seemed overwhelmed with emotion. She squatted down and started bawling. The live stream's viewer count skyrocketed to over 100,000. Comments flooded in, filled with outrage. Outside, Yvonne's mother, Jenny Shaw, turned up too. This old lady could act even better than her daughter. She banged on the door and wailed into a megaphone. "Open up! You have the guts to do bad things but don't have the guts to open the door? Look, everyone! This is the animal living in Unit 2801. He harassed my daughter who just turned 20. What a scumbag. If you won't come out, I'll kill myself at your door." The noise was giving me a headache. I put down the hot towel I was holding and looked at my husband, Chris Gomez, who was lying on the physiotherapy bed and hooked up to a breathing machine. Though he could not speak, his eyes were full of worry. He seemed to have heard the commotion outside and was trying hard to turn his head. I gently patted his shoulder and said softly, "It's all right, just a few barking dogs. I'll handle it." Chris's body trembled. A pang of sorrow hit me. 5 years ago, in that mall fire that shocked the whole country, he went in and out of the mall 3 times as the fire brigade captain. The last time, to save a trapped little girl, he was hit by a falling beam. It not only ruined his face, but also took both his arms. For the past 5 years, we've been living a peaceful and comfortable life with the compensation money and the money I made from earlier investments. To provide him with a better rehabilitation environment, I specifically moved to this large apartment with a river view. Who would have thought that on the very first day we moved in, we would be framed like this? Molest, pin against the wall, hands all over? I smirked, my eyes turning cold. If they want to make a scene, then they better be ready for the consequences. I went to the entrance and swung the door open violently. The crying and shouting outside came to an abrupt halt. Yvonne did not expect me to open the door. She froze for a second, then shoved the camera in my face. "Chat, look, this is the pervert's wife. She finally shows herself." Jenny lunged at me like a mad dog, pointing at my face and shouting, "You shameless wench! Get your pervert husband out here. He touched my daughter. We won't let you off until you pay us $1 million for emotional trauma." Yvonne, sobbing, added, "Girl, you're a woman too. How can you protect your husband after what he did to me? Look at the marks on my neck. They're left by his fingers when he choked me." She stretched out her neck to give the camera a close-up shot. The red, swollen finger marks were clearly visible. "Look closely. This is evidence. This is undeniable proof of his wrongdoing." The neighbors pointed and stared, their eyes full of disgust. Seeing the girl's greedy and scheming face, I did not panic. Instead, I could not help but laugh. Evidence? Finger marks? I crossed my arms and looked down at the pair of clowns. "Your name's Yvonne, right? You're saying my husband choked you and ripped your clothes with his hands?" Yvonne straightened up and said with unwavering confidence, "That's right. His hands were shockingly strong and covered in calluses. They hurt so much. I'll never forget those hands."